Hi 8th graders, today we are going to be going over 4.2 extension. So you're going to need these notes. There will be no bell ringer today, so after these notes you will get a practice page from the substitute teacher and fill that out. I forgot to erase this stuff from last time, so what I need you guys to do in your notes right away is just go ahead and take your pencil. Don't do too much obnoxious things because you're going to need this space to do some work. But just go and take your pencil and just go and cross these out. These are just the wrong numbers. You're not going to need them at all. Just go and cross those ones out over there. Go over here and you can do the same thing. Cross that out, cross that out, cross that out, cross that out. We don't need those. I wish I would have remembered to erase them, but I didn't. But that's okay. So for today's lesson, you are going to need some highlighters. And I want you to grab the 3 highlighters that I've got over here, yellow, green, and pink or purple, whichever one you can grab. Make sure you share nicely with the people at your table. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and draw 3 lines on this first graph. We're going to color code those 3 lines, and then I want you to tell me the slope of each line. The question is, which 2 lines are going to be parallel? All right, so go ahead and grab your pencil. Let's draw some lines. The first line that I want you to do, I'm just going to tell you the 2 points. So the first point is -4, -2. So I'm going to go back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 2, 1, 2. Okay? And you guys can write in that that's -4, -2. I'm not going to just because I don't want to make my graph look really busy. But the next point you need to put on is -3, 2. So go back 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now grab a ruler. I want these to look nice. So grab a ruler. The rulers are in a basket under that TV up there. And go ahead and make a nice long extension of the line that goes through those 2 points. I messed up a little bit. Oof. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to draw that line that goes through those 2 points. Give me some arrows. Okay, remember, if I'm going too fast, feel free to pause the video. The next thing I'm going to do is color code this line. This is going to be the yellow line. So I'm going to grab my yellow highlighter. And I'm going to go ahead and just highlight that line so I can remember that that's going to be yellow. Okay? Now we're going to go put a second line on this graph. The second line, let's go ahead and start with this point. It's 0, -2. So go left and right, none, just down 2. So there's 1 point there. The next point is 1, 3. So you're going to go over 1, up 3. Do the same thing, take that ruler, try to make it go through both of those points. Oof, mine is not the greatest. That's good enough. Draw me some arrows on the end. And then we're going to color code that line as well. We're going to make that one be green. Make sure I have the same green that I was using before. Okay. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to do our third line. And our third line starts with point 3, -3. So you're going to go over 3, 1, 2, 3, down 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the next point is 4, 1. So I'm going to go over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1. And then draw me a line using your ruler through those 2. And we're going to color code that one, purple, pink, whatever you can grab in your baskets. I don't even remember which ones I actually used. Yeah, it kind of looks like that one. Okay, so this will work. Pink. And we're going to highlight that little guy. Now, to somebody who would just glance at all 3 of these lines, like if you just glanced at it and just was, tried to kind of see, they all look parallel to one another. But actually, there's one line that is actually not parallel. So how we would do this is we need to go record the slopes of each of these lines over here. That's where that, those mess ups were. I'm going to go and erase my mess ups. I'm sorry that you can't do that on yours. But now let's go record the slopes of each of these lines. Let's start with yellow. The slope of yellow is rise 1, 2, 3, 4, run 1. So it'll be 4 over 1, okay? So I'm going to go over here to slope, and I'm going to go and record that. Slope was 4 over 1. Now let's go record the slope of our green line. The green line is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Okay, so let's go record that. That slope is 5 over 1. And now let's go record the slope of pink line. Pink line's slope is up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. So I'm going to go put that down, 4 over 1. Okay, now that I have the slope of all three lines, I can tell which lines are parallel with one another. So this is so tricky, because to me, in my mind, it looked like yellow and green were going to be parallel. But actually, yellow and green are not parallel. They will eventually touch. So if I look, I'm looking for the slopes that are the exact same as one another. The pink and the yellow have the same slope, which means pink and yellow are parallel. I'm going to go ahead and down here in this extra space, write my answer. So I will say yellow line and pink line, oops, are parallel because they have the same slope. Okay. If things are parallel, you can check to make sure by looking at their slopes. If they have the same slope, they are parallel. That is something that we did talk about a couple days ago right here. But here's something we haven't talked about really. We haven't talked about perpendicular yet. So let's do a similar problem. We're going to have three lines, a pink, a green, a yellow, a green, a pink, and then we're also going to have a fourth line. This fourth line is what's going to kind of intersect and go through these two things. So come on over here, grab your pencil. We're going to go ahead and draw a bunch of lines, okay? Let's do the first line. The first line is going to be like a transversal. It's going to be something that's crossing everything, okay? So this line will be a little different than all the others. Let's go ahead and begin with this first point. It's -2, 4. So that means go back 2, up 4. Put a dot. The next point on that line is going to be 2, -4. So I go over 2 and then down 4. Okay, go ahead and take your ruler and go right through those two. Extend it as long as you can, put some arrows. We're actually not going to highlight that one. That one is this one that's not highlighted. It's the plain line, okay? I'm going to go ahead and erase these things over here. I'm sorry, you can't do that. Yours are all scratched out, but that's okay. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the next line. The next line is going to have a point at -3, 2, which means I'm going to go back 3, up 2. The next point is over 3, up 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And go ahead and draw me a line with your ruler through that. Okay, go and extend it. And grab your highlighter. Let's make this be yellow line. Okay, the next line that we're going to do has a point of -4, -2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And the next point is 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And extend your line through that. And we're going to make that one be the green line. Okay. And the last line that we're going to put on there is -3, -4. So I'm going to go back 3, down 4. And then it's going to be 3, -2. So go over 3, down 2. Draw me a line through those 2 points. Mine's a little off. Ugh, that was really bad. Okay, that's good enough, I guess. Okay, and that's going to be pink line. Okay, so the point of this problem is I want to find out which 2 lines are perpendicular to one another. Now, obviously, it's not going to be something like yellow and green. Yellow and green are not going to be perpendicular because yellow and green, while they sure don't look parallel, like they really don't look parallel to me either, but they're not going to cross at a perfect 90-degree angle. They're not going to, they'll cross at some crazy angle, right? And I can't have an answer be something like yellow and pink because yellow and pink, those kind of look parallel, but you know, obviously I can't assume that, but it doesn't look like they'll cross at a 90-degree angle. Excuse me. So this transversal line, he is going to be perpendicular with either this line, or this line. Now, some kids want to look at it and go, oh, I can tell which one because those don't look 90-degree angles. But remember, you can't exactly assume because there could be a lot of human error with these lines because they're not perfect. They're not going through both points perfectly. So you can't assume just by looking at them, okay? Here's what we got to go do. We need to go list all the slopes, just like we did up here, for all of these lines. And then I'll tell you how to find out which one's perpendicular. So first, let's go do yellow. The slope of yellow is up 2 over 6. Up 2 over 6. Okay, I want you guys to reduce that right now, though. 2 over 6, if I reduce that and took a 2 out of both of those through division, that would be 1/3. Let's remember that, okay? All right, let's go do the green. The slope of green is up 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 4. Over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 over 8. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. 4 over 8. Let's reduce that. I know 4 over 8 is the same as 1/2. All right, now the pink line. Pink line is up 1, 2. Over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 6. 2, 6, we can reduce that to 1/3. Now, if the question was asking which ones are perpendicular, or I mean parallel, if it was asking for parallel, we could say that pink and yellow are parallel because they have the same slope. But it's not asking for that, it's asking for perpendicular. Now, it's all going to come down to this slope right here. This is the slope that's going to tell us which one is actually perpendicular. Let's go find the slope of the plane line. I'm going to start here and I'm going to go to here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I went down 8, down 8. That means it's going to be -8. So I went down 8, and now I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I did go to the right, which means that's +4. And if I reduce that, that's the same thing as take out a 4 out of both of those. So that would be a 2, and then that would be a 1, but you have to keep it negative, right? Okay, so now we know that the slope of that plane line is -2 over 1. Now, here's the rule. Lines will be perpendicular if the slope of the lines are the reciprocal, like it's been flipped, and it's the opposite. So for example, if it was positive, now it's going to be negative. So looking through this list of slopes, I can see that 1/2 and negative 2 over 1, those are the reciprocal of one another, and it's been negated, which means, it's like the opposite sign. So I'm going to go down here and tell my answer. I'm going to say green line and plain line, I guess. Are perpendicular. Perpendicular. Okay, green line and plain line are perpendicular, and if you look, it's because one slope was 1 over 2 and the other slope was negative 2 over 1. That is the reciprocal. It's been flipped and it's been turned into its opposite sign, okay? So down here I have just a couple like little side notes that we need to fill out. If lines are parallel, they have the same, hopefully you're all saying it out loud in your head, slope. Go and write slope right there. Grab a highlighter, highlight it. It's so important. They have the same slope if lines are parallel. Parallel, same slope. Look at that. So nice. If two lines are perpendicular, then the slope is the opposite sign and reciprocated. Now, I don't have anything really for you to fill in on that one, so instead, let's just show an example. For example, if I had a slope of, let's say, 3/4, then the perpendicular line of that would be negative 4/3. Okay? I'm going to grab a different highlighter real quick. Highlight the word perpendicular. I'm going to highlight opposite sign and reciprocated, okay? Perpendicular, opposite sign, reciprocated, flipped. All right. That's basically everything you need to know for the slope of parallel and perpendicular lines. I'm going to go ahead and look at the practice page now. So if you don't have one from the sub, go grab one. The practice page is double-sided, okay? I want to walk through the practice page a little bit with you. I don't really want to do it with you on this video. I want you guys to try it on your own, but I will kind of give you some hints and like tricks to get you started. So number 1 and number 2, which lines are parallel? How do you know? This looks identical to what we just did in our notes up here. You have 3 lines. You're going to tell me the slope of each of the lines, and then you're just going to tell me which ones have the same slope. If you want my advice, I suggest getting out those highlighters again and labeling each one a different color. Okay? But now, if you don't highlight, it's okay, because if you look, they did label them. This line is called B, this line is called R, and this line is called G. So if you want to do B, R, and G, that would be just as fine. In fact, I might do that just, since they are doing it with a label. I would just go and start like this. I'd say B equals, R equals, and G equals. And now this is where I'd want you guys to put the slope of each of these. The slope of B, the slope of R, the slope of G. So you're going to go through, find the slopes. You find the slopes by starting at one point, seeing how much you need to run, and then how much you need to rise to get to that slope. That would be the slope of B, right? Reduce them if you need to, compare them, find which ones have the same slope. That'll be how you do number 1 and number 2. Let's go down to 3 and 4. Are the given lines parallel? Explain your reasoning. So they're giving me 2 equations. This is y equals mx plus b. This is y equals mx plus b. We're just missing the mx. So actually it's going to look something like this, right? Over 2. Oh, wait, sorry, this is y. So I got to go up 2. 1, 2, put a dot, put my line. 1, 2, oh, down 4, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot, put your line. That's both of the lines. Are they going to be parallel? I know, because I know what the slope is of both of those. Your explanation could literally just be telling me what the slope is of both of those lines. Because if 2 lines have the same slope, they will be parallel. Number 4, this is an X and this is a Y. So this one's going to be a little interesting. I'm going to do the y first. The y is down 3, put my line, and the x is 3. Remember, x equals means it's going to be up and down. So it's going to be like this. Are those two lines parallel? Obviously not. Now to explain it, I would say they're not parallel because they don't have the same slope. They're actually perpendicular. Number 5, is this quadrilateral a parallelogram? Justify your answer. For something to be considered a parallelogram, it needs to have 2 pairs of parallel sides. So for example, this side and this side have to be parallel to one another, and this side have to be parallel to one another. Now, just by looking at it, I can tell AB and DC are parallel because, they're both completely horizontal. So your job would be maybe to find out if DA, sorry, that was a really crappy line, if DA and CB are parallel. You can double check that by finding their slopes. On the back side, which lines are perpendicular and how do you know? This is just like this section of the notes that we took. We first found all of the slopes, and then we found the slope that was reciprocated and opposited. This looks chaotic, I know. This looks nuts. But here's what they're doing. I've got this line right here is R, okay? Do you see they labeled it R? Here's the points on R. Find me the slope of R. And then you would write it over here, slope of R. I know this looks chaotic, but just break it down. The next line that I'm coming across is this one. It looks like that's G, okay? This is line G. You'd find me the slope of G. And the last line is B. So this is B. You'd find me the slope of B, okay? After you find the slopes, you find the slope that is reciprocated and opposited, okay? Then you can tell me which 2 lines are perpendicular. Same thing over here. I've got 3 lines. I've got a G line. Oops, I'm trying my highlighter. I got a G line. I've got a B line. And I've got an R line. Do you see these little crazy lines going over where I noticed there was a line over here too. That's just trying to tell you what that point is. It's right here because they couldn't put it right here without it running into the -2. Same thing over here. This line is saying, hey, this ordered pair belongs right here, okay? That's how you read that. Find me the slopes of all 3 lines. Find which ones are the perpendicular. Okay. 8 and 9. Are the given lines perpendicular? Explain your reasoning. This looks very similar to 3 and 4, except for instead of parallel, I want perpendicular. I would just go ahead and make a little graph that shows x equals 0, y equals 3. Give me a little graph that shows y equals 2, y equals -1/2. And then see if they have the same slopes. Or sorry, not the same slopes. We want the opposite slopes and reciprocated, okay? Number 10. Is the parallelogram a rectangle? Justify your answer. For things to be considered a rectangle, they have to have 4 angles that all measure 90 degrees. So the best way to justify your answer would be to find out, is KJ parallel to JM, and is it parallel to perpendicular to KL. So if this line right here is perpendicular to these 2, then that means yes, if this is 90, if this is 90, this is 90, and then this will be 90. So all you're going to have to do is find the slopes of these things, check it out, make sure they're all the opposite slope, perpendicular to one another, and then that would tell you if it's going to be a yes or a no answer, okay? Okay, I know this is a bit of a tougher one today, but make sure you refer back to your notes. Just go slow, take your time, try not to make silly mistakes with finding slope, and I think you guys are going to do great. All right, see you Monday.